P-A-S-C-A-L. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good morning and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Good Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good looking people, I guess. What's up, my beautiful people? What's poppin'? Hopefully this show is finding you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, dagnabbit. Okay, what is poppin'? So we got some things we got to talk about today. This is some very interesting stuff. And I'm curious, does this exonerate Nolan Wells' friends or no? I got some questions. We're going to talk about it because now we have some new, very interesting, let's just say we got an added part of the audio that has just been released, which is very, very interesting. Now, quick question. Somebody's saying that the audio is low. If the audio is low, let me know. Hit the number 1 in the chat if the audio is not low. If the audio is not low, hit the number 1 in the chat. If it is low, press 0 in the chat. To me, audio's doing just fine. All right? Audio's doing just fine. Let's find out. Somebody's saying that the audio is low. If the audio is low, let me know. Hit the number 1 in the... Sounds good to me. So it might be on your end, if that's the case. So, before we get into everything, do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe or hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Okay, let it do what it do. Make sure you hit that follow button if you are watching on other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. I'm on all of them, so make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe right here on my YouTube channel, please and thank you. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, subscribe. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. See, somebody just said, oh, it's my headphones. There you go. It's all good. All right. Hit that notification bell on both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out pascalmerch.com. pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into some conversations. We got some things to talk about. We have been talking about a bunch of things recently, all right? Some things have been unearthed, and now we're getting more snippets of stuff. I'm going to say that too, okay? We got GPS, boat GPS data that has just come out, all right? Or that just came out late last night. And honestly, I'm going to be real. I was like, man, I want to talk to you guys about it last night, but I was like, man, I am so tired. And you know, there's so much going on. You know, I'm trying to get this, you know, I'm trying to get the background ready to be constructed and all that because of you guys. Thank you so much for your help. I'm able to get some things started here in the next couple of weeks. So trying to get those things going. We got, you know, life be lifing, and then also giving you guys as much updates about what's going on in this case and on so many other cases all at the same damn time. It's absolutely insane. All right. So yes, Crystal, a lot is going on, especially with this and other ones, you know, the Siders family situation, etc. All right. It's pretty insane. All right. Let me just make that abundantly clear. There's a lot going on and a lot is coming up very, very soon. So with that being said, there has been a lot going on here. And I did a video this morning about the GPS, the boat GPS, but we are going to be discussing that further. You know what I mean? We're going to be, you know, discussing that as a fam more on this show today. But there's also new audio. Now, I just want to remind you, there was audio that they released, a snippet. This is how they do it. This is how the news does it, because they're trying to stretch out the story as much as they can so that they can make the monies. Okay, they're doing what they can, I guess, to try to make as much of the monies as they can, right? And one thing's for sure, we heard one clip yesterday. All right, we heard a snippet of the audio, and then they just gave us more of a snippet in new audio. So we're going to be listening to the old audio first because we got to take a look at it, okay, so we can piece it together. All right, so just give me a second because I want to make sure I have it here. Okay, hold on. It's right about here. Let's take a listen.
Calling for towing assistance.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later. It's unclear whether Nolan was with anyone when he disappeared. This as the search for answers in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells continues.
Now, I'm going to roll that back a little bit just so we have everything.
The group left without Nolan when their boat began malfunctioning.
Now, this is according to the mother, the stepmother of one of the kids, Wesson, I think. Wes, all right? Just want to make sure you guys know that, all right? Now, here's the thing. And, yeah, so here's the thing. And thanks, T. I appreciate that. I think I already have the audio about that, what they're covering. I already have that. So, but thank you so much for letting me know. We'll find out. We'll find out as we continue. So, according to Ashley Cole, all right, like Ashley Cole was basically saying, you know, apparently she was on the boat too, if I'm correct. So she's sitting there saying, hey, you know, the boat malfunctioned. We had to go and get it taken care of. Allegedly, according to the friends, Nolan said, I'm gonna just go and hitch a ride with somebody else. I'm gonna stick around. I'll stick around on this island, on Horn Island, and I'll see if I can catch a ride. Right? So that's what she's saying. And apparently they called 911 or they called some emergency number to get help to tow the boat back into the mainland. So let's play this one more time.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
NBC News.
See, and you know how it is. They'll only give you snippets. They won't give you the whole damn thing. They won't give you the whole enchilada. They'll just give you snippets, which is really, really annoying. But hear it out again.
Can y'all please come?
NBC News has obtained.
Can y'all please come?
NBC News has began malfunctioning.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
NBC News has obtained audio as part of a records request that details the group calling for towing assistance.
So there's record showing that they did call asking for help. And no, they weren't saying this just for ish and giggles. They weren't saying this as a cover-up. Allegedly, they got helped, but it's weird. They got helped, and then later on, something else happened. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Let's hear the rest of this clip, and then we're going to jump over to the new audio.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in
Okay, so they said, is everybody is everybody okay? Is everybody in good health? Is everybody all right? Whoever is on that phone call with dispatch says, yes, everybody's accounted for, everybody's fine, and everyone's on board. Everyone on board could mean a multitude of different things, because I know a lot of people are hanging on to everybody's on board. Nolan wasn't on board, or was he on board? That's a question I think a lot of people are trying to ask. It just doesn't make any damn sense. Now, does it? Now, here's the thing. They may just be saying the people that are currently on the boat are alive and, you know, and they're on board and everyone's okay. And they're not sitting there going, well, technically, we did have a friend named Nolan, but he opted out. Like, they're not going to tell that whole story to dispatch. They're just going to say everybody's Gucci, everybody's accounted for. No, it's not like the ship capsized and is flipped over and we're you know, literally in the middle of, you know, in the middle of the ocean just trying to tread water. No, we're doing just fine. Everybody is accounted for on board, right? That the boat hasn't flipped over. So I could see that. But some people are really, you know, some people are taking that snippet and they're running hard in the paint over that. Now, we are going to talk about data and all that, okay? But this is something that is very interesting and weird. You know, this audio, like I said, I'm going to ask you guys, does it expose or does this debunk the theories? Does it debunk the theories out here? Does this exonerate these guys, these kids? They could have been saying this. I know some people would be saying, they were saying this just to save face, that maybe they weren't really sinking at all. Maybe there wasn't any problem with the bilge pump. They just made that up, saying that they're sinking. You see what I'm saying? People are going to be going ham trying to come up with something, right? So I digress, right? Let's take a listen to this right here as well.
Now to the latest on the mysterious death of the Mississippi teenager. His name, of course, Nolan Wells. He is the college football player who disappeared on July 4th after a party on an island off the coast. His family believes race is a factor in how officials have handled the case. Skylar Henry has been following this for us in Mississippi.
We continue to be steadfast and trying to get to the truth.
The parents of Nolan Wells and their legal team, led by attorney Ben Crump, say they received some assurances Wednesday about the thoroughness of the investigation as tips pour in.
We're getting about 50 calls a day to 100 calls a day.
The 18-year-old
Crazy.
college football player was last seen on July 4th on a boating trip with friends to Horn Island, 10 miles from Mississippi's Gulf Coast. GPS data obtained by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources shows the boat arriving at the island at 11:14 in the morning. Friends Wells was with told investigators he chose to stay behind on the island. Judge Ashley Cole says her son was on the boat. In a Facebook post, she said the boat had an issue and somebody made a call for help.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Wells' mother reported him missing later that night.
Please report her 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells, missing passing at 3 on Horn Island.
After a 2-day search, his body washed up on the island.
If this was your son, if this was your daughter, wouldn't you want desperately to get to the truth?
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I'd want to get to the truth too. I'd like to know what the F is going on, but let's hear that audio one more time. It's interesting that, like, I wish that we had just a full breakdown or like a full audio. I don't understand why they only gave us like snippets of this. You see what I'm saying? Like, just give us the whole freaking thing all in one sitting. You feel me? But it's almost like they're trying to do this in pieces so that they get views. It's weird. And it's like, we ain't got time for this. We all busy out here. You know what I mean? Just give us the information. Do it in one piece. Come on, man. But let's listen to this one more time.
Help.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
So again, they're sitting there saying the same thing. Nothing's changed. Now you're hearing that part. Hey, we're having issues. We're sinking. Bilge pump is broken. We're sinking. We need help. Then, of course, you hear the dispatch. Is everybody okay? Is everybody in good health? Yeah. Everybody's on board. Everyone's fine, right? So, again, are they lying? Could they be lying? Could they be, stretching the truth? Because at some point, somebody got to go over there, right? Whoever emergency vehicles have to, like emergency whatever is going to be dispatched to go over to them, right? To take care of them, to maybe tow the boat. But there's more to the story that just doesn't make any earthly sense, which we are going to get into. Hold on. Let's just finish this last piece. I'm going to roll it back so you guys can hear that piece again.
And somebody made a call for help.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Wells' mother reported him missing later that night.
Please report her 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells, missing passing at 3 on Horn Island.
After a 2-day search, his body washed up on the island.
If this was your son, if this was your daughter, wouldn't you want desperately to get to the truth?
For the family, there are so many unanswered questions about what happened that day.
No doubt.
But they are moving forward with funeral plans set for next Monday for their son.
We want to celebrate Nolan. He would not want us to be sitting around crying and eating. And so what we're going to do is kind of have a party to celebrate him.
As for yesterday's meeting, the family's legal team, along with the DA's office, have agreed to a mutual inspection of Wells's cell phone. That could potentially be a key piece of evidence in this investigation. Meanwhile, the family is also still waiting for the results of a state-conducted autopsy, as well as the results of one that they are conducting independently as well. Attorney Crump told us yesterday that those results should come back very soon. Nate.
Such a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of questions here, right? There's a lot of things that have not been answered. We're still trying to figure out what the F is going on. Again, let's be real. Let's look at both sides of the situation here, right? This could be a situation where nothing went wrong as far as the boys, as far as the friends. What if the friends didn't do anything at all? What if the friends had nothing to do with this at all? I'm just saying. Just asking. They're saying, hey, we had a bilge pump, broke, we're sinking, we needed to go. But my question is, why was he, of all people, the one to sit there and go, you know what? Hey, fam, you guys go. I'll stay behind. Why is it him that stayed behind? Like he was the heaviest one or something like that? That doesn't make any sense. The other three stuck around. The other three stayed on the boat and he's the one who gets off the boat? It just doesn't make sense to me, guys. It really just doesn't make any sense. Now, hold on. I think there's a super chat. Yep, there is. Warren, thank you so much for the love. If there was a problem with the pump, why did the boat leave the dock several times after making it back the first time? Wasn't sinking too bad, I guess. Yeah, and that's the question that I want to ask, or that I was about to ask. But yes, let's talk about that too. You know what I mean? Which we will be talking about here in a little bit. But yes, I agree. It just doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense. He's having a car, or they're having a boat issue, and he's the one who says, "Don't worry about it, and I'm out." Like, I'm out. I'm gonna hitch a ride with somebody else. But then here's the thing: who is the other person? Who is the other boat? I'm gonna keep asking that. I know you guys have been hearing me say that over and over and over again. But if he said, "I'm gonna go hitch a ride on another damn boat," where is the other boat? Who are the names of that other boat? Who was the captain? Who was the driver of that boat? You see what I'm saying? Or was he just like, yo, I'm just going to see if Katie gives me a ride or something like that? Yeah, let me holler at this girl. You know what I mean? We kind of talking, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to continue talking to her over here. We'll I'll see you guys back at the mainland. I'll see you guys in a little bit. You see what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it's like, who is the person? Is it Katie? Is it the Katie girl that was supposed to take him back to the mainland? Because she's like, no, I didn't have to do that. So I don't know what you're talking about. So that's the thing. You look at this situation, it seems a little bit weird to me. Let's take a look at this. And we already talked about this, about the GPS data, but let's circle back around that again. Let's look at the facts here. Because the friends are saying, hey, we had a boat issue. We called for help. We got the boat. We called the boat to get towed. We needed help. So that's what we did. So then why did it do this? It did some funky action here. The timeline's a little funky. So what's up with this? So it says here, the vessel left a dock, the actual boat that he took that morning, on July 4th at 9:56 a.m., all right? And it arrived at Horn Island at 11:14 a.m. All right, cool. So it did its thing. It went out there. Actually, it took a minute to get out there, to be really honest. Over an hour and 15 minutes it took to get from where it left to get to Horn Island. I don't know if they may have stuck around. They may have driven off to some area for a second to chill, or maybe they were boating or driving against the wind. that can cause some time as well. You know, it might be choppy waters that might make you go slower, so on and so forth, right? But nonetheless, 9:56 a.m., they left the dock, the mainland, and arrived at Horn Island at 11:14 a.m. All right? Now, he was reportedly on that boat at that time. Then, according to GPS data, the boat left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m. and returned to its original departure dock. So it went back to where it left. It went back to the same dock that it left at 9:56 a.m. But here's the weird part. Then it traveled into Fort Bayou at around 5:52 p.m. before returning to the dock at 6:06 p.m. So what the hell does that mean? What the hell's going on here? Real talk. What the hell is going on here? If your boat is having a problem, why are you riding this boat off to the middle of the ocean, you know, back over to another area like Fort Bayou? Why are you doing that? You took a straight shot from Horn Island straight over to the port that you left in the first place. Now, here's the thing. Where was the place that was fixing the boat? Where was the mechanics shop? Because I'm sure there's a boat mechanic shop somewhere on these ports, right? Little hub or a little spot where, you know, you can bring your boat over there and they fix it, blah, 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 right? So what are the possibilities? Where was it? Was the mechanic shop over at Fort Bayou? Because that doesn't make any sense to me either. Think about this for a second, guys. You have a leak. You're sinking. You get towed back to your original dock. You're sinking. You'd think that whatever needs to get fixed can get fixed right there at the dock, and all you got to do is just pack up your stuff after the boat's been fixed, put it back on the trailer, head back home, you know what I mean, and be done, right? But that's not the case here. This boat turned back around and went out halfway. It almost looked like it went halfway the distance to Fort Bayou and then came back at 6:06 p.m. Then again, later that evening, the boat went to Fort Bayou, Fort Bayou boat launch again area at 7:19 p.m. So here it is. It left the dock, the original dock, came back to its original dock. Then it went out to Fort Bayou and then went back to the dock. Then it went out to Fort Bayou again. And then that's when that boat was put onto a trailer and driven back to Biloxi, Mississippi, to the boat owner's home. Doesn't that seem weird? Now, you never know. Here's the thing. Maybe they had to go to Fort Bayou to fix the boat, and that's where it was, the place to go fix the boat. But still, that doesn't make any sense. Would there be record of the towing of this boat to Fort Bayou? Or what if somebody had to do a test run of the boat to make sure that the boat was fixed? That's a possibility too. They took the boat and went out. But why would they go out at such a distance? Like I said, it just seems strange. They went, like I said, they originally at 9:56 left the original dock, went to Horn Island, came, then they had issues. Somehow they got towed back to the original dock. Then they left that original dock and went to Fort Bayou. then went back to the dock, the original dock. And then they went back. They left that original dock again to Fort Bayou boat launch at 7:19 p.m. Seems a little strange, right? Yeah, Anna, I'd like to know that too. Are there photos of this tow taking place? Did they take photos of the boat being towed? Are there actual records of the boat being towed aside from a dispatch call? I mean, we got to ask all these questions, right? But that seems a little bit strange, right? And you know for damn show, they didn't go out to Fort Bayou because they're looking for Nolan. Hell no. They weren't looking for Nolan, because if they were looking for Nolan, they would have gone straight back to Horn Island. But that's not what they did now, did they? So again, like I said, it's just strange that they did all of this back and forth from the original dock. Now, it could all have to do with fixing the boat. That's possible. It may have everything to do with fixing the boat. But then again, maybe it doesn't. You got a sinking boat. You're going to drive out to Fort Bayou. Hold up. Let me see if I could find some footage. Because, like I said, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, y'all. One second, guys. Hold on. We're going to go over to Hype News real quick and see what they're talking about too. Because again, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense, y'all. It doesn't. Your boat is literally sinking. You're saying we're sinking. And then you get the boat towed, but then you still take that sinking boat out to a whole other area. You're risking it all to get over to another area like Fort Bayou, and you're going back and forth a couple times. It's not like you're just going over there and fixing whatever needs to be fixed and just keeping it, just being done with it. No, you go out. You're risking it. You're risking the boat being sunk, unless whatever got fixed at the dock. Maybe it was a thing like it was a small fix. Maybe it was a small little thing that needed to be taken care of. And when they got to the dock, they were able to fix it because, they didn't have the tools right there on the boat. So they went over there, got it fixed, then went from there out to Fort Bayou for what reason, I don't know. Then came back, then went back there again, and that's when they went ahead and towed the boat. I don't know. It just seems very strange. But let's take a look at Hype News here real quick.
Reporting live from Hype's Club, Fight Plus News, I'm John Abba.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Last night, we would share breaking news in regards to Nolan Wells, as audio from a tow call made by his friends around 3 p.m. on July 4th, according to NBC News, would be released. Now, in an extended version of this call, we are now hearing where they were exactly when the call was made. According to now released audio and GPS graphics, they were on the western tip of Horn Island.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Now, as you know, we've been following the story, and what we have now noticed is that the call looks to be made in the same area Nolan's body was found.
So his body was found in the same area, okay? And Easter Sea, it could be a full-on made-up story, and then they just went with the whole, let's get the boat towed so we have the optics and all that stuff. But at the same time, this phone call was made in the same area as his body was found. You see what I'm saying? It's still that could be something, but it could also be nothing. His body was found in the same area the phone call was made. But remember, his body was found in the same area that they were all kicking it at as well. So it's not like they drove off to the other side of Horn Island to make this call. They were there kicking it, having a great time, doing their thing, and then they realized, oh, damn, bilge pump isn't working, and we're starting to get water. Crap. We got to call somebody before this bad boy sinks. Let's get it taken care of. And they make the phone call. So again, this is all very strange. But again, this is in the same area that he was found in.
2 days later, on Monday, as local outlet WLOX stated, around 8:45 a.m., Sheriff Ledbetter confirmed authorities received a call reporting a body found at the northwestern tip of Horn Island. The body was discovered by a U.S. Park Service ranger. Now, this clearly now gives us a better understanding that when the friends allegedly last seen Nolan at 3 p.m., they would make a call about the boat taking in water in needing of a tow. GPS data graphics would again also confirm they were located on the northwestern tip of the island. Now, at 4:31 p.m., they would eventually be towed for about 2.7 miles out before returning to normal operation and headed back to land. Now, after gathering all this information...
Interesting. So everything was fine. It seemed like so they went out for a couple miles, and then somehow everything got fixed and everything was Gucci, and then I guess they were untowed and they went back up to the area, went back up to the original dock. This is weird.
It now seems for some that Nolan's incident, given that his body was found in the same area, had to have happened between the call at 3 p.m. when they stated to last seeing him and when they would be towed away at 4:31 p.m. Now, another thing that would stand out in the audio and raise suspicions is that the dispatcher would ask the boat's operator if everyone on board was in good health. And in response to that, he would go on to say, yeah, everybody is on board.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Now, what?
Yeah, so everybody's on board. Everybody's on board, he says. And I know a lot of people are having a problem with him saying that. But again, like I said, if the story is true, if their claims are true, and Nolan said, hey, I'm going to stick back, I'm going to hang back, I'm going to get a ride with X, Y, and Z, then technically everybody was on board that was supposed to be on board. But if he was on board at that time and they're just changing the story, then that might be it too. But again, like I said, anything could have happened even in the middle of the ocean. But then at the same time, why would his body be found right in the same area why would his body turn up in the same area that the party was at? You see what I'm saying? And the GPS on the boat is not saying that they drove all the way back over to Horn Island. Oh, no. Oh, no. On the contrary, not at all. They went over to Fort Bayou and went back and forth there for a couple times. But that's about it, guys. So this boat never went back to Horn Island. So what's up with this?
It's hard to understand for some is if they waited for a tow to help them leave the island, why did they continue having no contact with Nolan, given that they were all friends and this towing incident seemed like an emergency? Also, according to the released GPS graphics, it does not appear that the boat was too far out for them to see or be near the shoreline. Again, this would happen as they reportedly had Nolan's phone on the boat. And
again, they couldn't get in contact with him because his phone was on the boat. Also, at the same time, no cell phone footage, no nothing of that. You know what I mean? So again, this is very interesting. I guess he got left behind, and then, he said, I'm going to stick around. But like I said, why haven't we heard any claims of, yeah, he was going with this group of people there, he was taking this person's ride? Because again, like I said, if he didn't have a ride to get back to the mainland, why would they leave him behind? You see what I'm saying? If he had no proof and he said that he did not say a person's name and it was not confirmed whether or not he was going to go take a ride with anybody, why would they leave him behind? You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. Why haven't we heard from at least Ashley Cole, one of these 3 kids' stepmamas? Why haven't we even heard from her saying, "Oh yeah, he apparently claimed that he was going to take Ray Ray's ride. He was going to hitch a ride with Ray Ray," and so on and so forth. We don't hear no Ray Ray, no Tyrone, no Chad and them. So what's going on? You see what I'm saying? They may have left. I mean, they definitely left. But at the same time, that still doesn't exonerate them. It still doesn't say what is going on here, that something sinister could have happened. It doesn't exonerate them from that. You see what I'm saying? It could be them just turning a blind eye to whatever's going on, and that's it. But again, it's just very strange what's happening here, guys. Very, 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 very strange.
That Nolan allegedly wanted to stay back to speak with a girl he just met. Now, on Wednesday, Nolan's family representatives would speak to the Mississippi DA to hear the latest. They would go on to admit that not much new information was shared, but that the DA will be presenting evidence to a grand jury to declare how the mysterious death of Wells should move forward. Now, despite a seemingly positive meeting with the DA, not everyone is letting up. Former Mississippi Judge Carlos Moore, who would go viral for sharing his reaction to the case, would return back to his Facebook and would issue a warning to anyone fully trusting the DA, Angel McIlrath. According to Moore, his past run-in with McIlrath, as according to him, was a bad experience, as she failed to get an indictment for an incident that clearly should have gotten one.
Day 11, and there has still been no arrest. To me, that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable, because we know on day 1, had there been 3 young black men to return to the mainland from an island, and 1 white young man left there who disappeared, who died under suspicious circumstances, we know within 1 day of beginning an investigation, with all the suspicious activity that we know that have occurred here, if it occurred in that situation, we know that there would have been arrest by now. So it's still unacceptable to me that no arrests at all have been made for any particular crime. And I've laid out a litany of potential crimes that members of law enforcement, if they were doing their jobs unbiasedly and thoroughly, could have made by now.
I will say this. I agree. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. There should be charges on some of these people. Okay, if there are adults on this boat, in fact, some of these kids who are drinking underage, I mean, I'm just going to be real. They're minors drinking under the age. They should be getting charged anyway. They should be getting citations for real. The parents or adults that were there that were giving them or allowed them to drink on this doggone boat, they should be getting hit with something. But we don't see any action going on right now. There's no movement whatsoever. And I find that to be weird. I do. Okay? This situation might not have happened if alcohol was not involved. See what I'm saying? If alcohol was not involved in this situation, maybe Nolan would still be alive. Maybe. Maybe the fate was just, you know what I mean? Maybe fate would only, call his name no matter what, right? And that this was his fate. Obviously, it was his fate. He's no longer here. But like I said, if alcohol was not involved, maybe these kids would have been making more responsible decisions. Elfin, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Nolan was the popular kid that everyone seemed to know. Got a ride with a mysterious group. Then this popular kid drowned on an island where no one seen. Yeah, it's weird. He's a known kid. He may not have known everybody on that island, but he knew people. They knew him. He's kind of hard to miss, too. He's a big guy. He's a tall kid. Okay, he may not be big, but he's tall, right? And everyone seems to know and love the guy. So, of all people, white and black, he got along with everybody. So again, it seems weird to me that he would just suddenly, out of nowhere, just disappear out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he just pops up out of the water 2 days later. It just seems strange. And no one's seeing that, okay? No one seeing that. Exactly, Ella. He's tall. There's 200 witnesses. Everyone's kicking it. Everyone knows him. And I get it. People are getting blitzed. People are getting drunk. Okay, red Solo cup, let's have a party. You know what I'm saying? They were kicking it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Except that they were underage. They shouldn't be drinking. But at the same time, let's be real. Let's be real. People are getting blitzed out their minds. You add a little alcohol, you got the sun. Everyone's having a great time. Maybe other substances are involved. I don't know if he partook. I don't know any of that sort at all. But you had all that. And people, you know what I mean? And dudes are trying to holler at girls and they're trying to stare at, girls in their bikinis and all that stuff. Let's be real. Come on, guys. You got kids that are just focused on other things, like binge drinking and trying to get laid. Straight up. Because let's be real. They're going, hey, damn, it's 4th of July. I'm spending the night at my friend's house. Mom and dad aren't going to even know that I'm wasted. Great. And they just drink their faces off. Because, of course, it's an opportunity for them to sleep it off and go back home being like, oh, I had a great time last night or yesterday. It was great. Acting like nothing happened. All right? So you got a lot of kids that are binge drinking, going hard in the paint, trying to take this opportunity because that's exactly what everybody else is doing on 4th of July. Let's keep it a bean. For the most part, people are cracking open their suds and their liquors, and they're doing they're doing the cookouts and the barbecues and all that as well. Maybe they're burning some as well, celebrating America's birthday. All right, and getting wasted. That's just how people do it. And if you're out there and you know you're not going back to mama, you're not going to see the parents, and you don't have to answer for nothing, man, they were going hard. They were probably doing those like shotgunning beers, shotgunning seltzers, doing shots of all kinds of different liquor and all that. These kids were probably getting so blitzed out of their freaking faces that they probably weren't really paying attention to everything. Now, that doesn't excuse not noticing that a tall young man that you actually love and admire goes missing out of nowhere. I feel like you'd start asking questions like, where Nolan at? He was standing right next to me, and now he's not here. What happened? You know what I'm saying? What are other phrases for people who, getting wasted? Yeah, sloshed. Right? Isn't that one? Someone just said, Tyler just said, getting shreked. You know what I'm saying? Getting white boy wasted. I know that, not a lot of people like that one. But you know what I'm saying? Just going crazy. You see what I'm saying? So again, they're treating it like it's spring break. Like it's a spring break thing. You see what I'm saying? So they're having, it sounds like they're having a really great time, but illegal. An illegal good time. Let's remember, these are kids that are not even of age to drink. But remember, getting blitzed, getting slapped, getting rock star wasted. That's a new one for me, Mel. That's a new one. Getting hammered, getting slammered. Okay, the Irish shower. What the hell is an Irish shower? Getting faded, blasted, okay? Where was getting foobar, okay? Effed up beyond all recognition. But you realize that this is what kids do. This is what kids do. When they know, okay, we're going to get wasted. We don't have to answer to nobody. We can have a blast and have a great time. We don't have to talk to mom, dad. We don't have to do the, sneaking in the Altoids and the dentine ice as we walk in the house. You know what I mean? Trying to cover up the liquor smell, and trying to stay sober as you walking up, trying to stagger up the stairs, trying to seem sober. We don't have to do that. We're sleeping at Chad's house. Everything's Gucci, right? They take that opportunity, they ride it till the wheels mother loving fall off. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Okay? Zooted, sloshed, blitzed, toasted, white girl wasted, redneck wasted. That's a new one. I've never heard that in my life. Stoned for drinking? Really? Getting tore up? That's a good one. Charlotte on Facebook said stoned. That's a new one. I never knew, like, yo, man, I'm so stoned. I just thought stoned was like, burning them trees. But let me get this. Holla at your girl. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. This is a ranger station. There is a ranger station on Horn Island. Does anyone know if there was a ranger stationed on the island on the 4th of July? That's a very good question. I do not know. That's something that we're going to have to look into. The Real Rebel, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Who and where were the adults? Yeah, that's what I'd like to know too, dagnabbit. Okay, getting ripped. Yeah, zooted, a lot of zooted. Getting blasted, getting turned. Man, that's a deep cut. That feels old. You know what I mean? Like, where's Lil Jon? Yeah. You know what I mean? Where's Lil Jon? Double vision. That's a new one. I've never heard. Man, we about to get double vision. I've never heard that one in my life. That's a new one though. Okay. Scummy. That's a new one too. That sounds nasty. Okay. Getting tipsy, getting litty. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Stoned is you burning some trees. Litty, crunk. That's another one. Lil Jon. Why does that instantly make me think of the Whisper song? Why do you seem by? You know what I mean? You know that song from the Yin Yang Twins? Why does that instantly make me think of that song? Like, it takes me all the way back to that era. You know what I mean? That era? That's crazy. But you get what I'm saying, all right? Dripped? That I thought getting dripped is like when you fashion. Oh, you're saying dipped. That's a new one. I've never heard. Scummy, dipped. Those are all new ones for me. Yeah, getting effed up. That's very straightforward. Okay. Just saying, getting fried. I thought getting fried is like, getting toasted. I've heard that one. All right. But like I said, getting plastered. There it is. Is it BT Uncut? Yeah, Lex. Come on now. I'm just saying, when you hear, let's get litty, you know what I mean? It just makes me think, or it's, getting crunk, just instantly makes me think of like Lil Jon and Yin Yang Twins. I don't know why. Don't ask. Okay? I don't know. All right? But I digress. Trashed. That's one I've heard. Slizzard. I've never heard of that in my whole entire mother-loving life. But we got something. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate it. Tori, for the past 8 months, I appreciate it. My question is, where are these kids driving the boats? Or were these kids driving the boat? No adults in the boat? I'm not sure if I would let my 17-year-old drive, or 17-year-old son drive the boat without me. I agree. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. Let me pull this up, because CBS did say this in their article. Let's take a look at this. Thank you so much for bringing this question up, okay? Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate the support. Take a look at this, all right? So the report indicates the boat's owner, his mother, and one other individual who was reportedly with Wells on the day of the incident have cooperated with investigations. So the boat's owner, his mother, and one other individual. So the question is, was the mama on the boat with them? Michelle, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Someone didn't want him dating a white girl. I don't know. I mean, and okay. When you ask that question, and it's a viable question. It's a viable question. If that is the case, then this would definitely have race involved. Then racism is involved. Absolutely. If they took him out solely because he's a black man, happened to be talking to a white girl, yes, then racism and race is definitely a factor, but they have not been able to prove anything of the sort. So we're going to leave that on the table. It's still on the table, baby. It's still on the table, but they haven't confirmed anything because they haven't found out if there's foul play going on here. You understand? That's the frustrating part for me, at least to me. I don't know about for y'all, but that part is really frustrating the F out of me. So hopefully we're going to find out here very, very soon what's actually going on. But remember, the only other person aside from these three friends that holds the key to some information is Katie McCormick's side. And I don't know what race Katie McCormick is. She looks like she's Caucasian, but she could be, she may not be. I don't know. She looks Caucasian to me. But from a distance, and you're looking at Katie, and say that she is some other race, let's just say, from a distance, you see a black guy talking to a light-skinned, light-complected girl. Someone could get triggered solely because they think she may be white. But I think she's Caucasian, just so you know. I think she is, her lineage does come from the Caucasus Mountains, just so you know. So no matter what, if that is true, that someone got triggered, angry, and put their paws on Nolan for talking to a white girl, then yes, there would be race involved. But we have not heard anything about that, okay? We have not heard anything about that. Not yet, at least, all right? The jury's still out on that, too. But the only person that actually has the information is Katie McCormick, as far as that part. When he gets onto the island to go talk to her, to go holler at her, or to just go hang out and have a drink or something like that with her, you know, maybe they were just sharing a shot together and talking. And then he's like, yeah, I'm going to go head back over there and chop it up with the guys, and we're going to be heading back to the mainland. You know what I mean? You coming through? I'll see you over there on the mainland. We're going to be going over to such and such house, and we're going to kick it even more. You know, we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. This is far from over. It's not, you know, this is the night ain't over yet. You see what I'm saying? And then she's like, yeah, I'll see you totally. Yeah. See you. And then he leaves, according to her. But the only person that has that piece of information is her. This GPS does say something, but does it give us everything? Let's get back over to Hype News real quick. Where'd that go? Let's get back over to Hype News real quick. Hear a little bit more of this. By the way, do me a favor, guys. I see a bunch of y'all in here. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys could be watching anything else, anywhere else, and you guys are here. I appreciate it. Please do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Let's get it. Can we get it to 1K? That would really mean the world to me. It helps the show, helps us grow, helps the word get the word out there about this topic and, of course, this channel and this show. Okay, shameless plug. So please make sure you hit that like button down below and do not forget to subscribe. Okay, please and thank you. Let us get into this.
But they refuse to do so. The family has been calling for transparency all this time, so I don't know why you would keep them in the dark last week that you were doing an investigation when somebody who knows how it's done calls you out on Sunday night, early one Monday morning, you decide to tell everybody that you're doing an investigation. So thank you, DA McElrath. We've been wondering what you have been up to the past few days. So now we know, because I don't play. School had recess. I do not play. I don't even play the radio. Those folks know me. They know me well. And if I say it, I mean it.
Now, here's the thing. There's been some talk about Miss McIlrath, okay? There's been a lot of talk about her. Remember, there hasn't been a whole lot of conversation between the family and law enforcement in regards to this whole investigation. Even so, I just want to remind you, even during the press conference that we watched yesterday that they had, we found out that they still hadn't found out anything. They still hadn't received any information from law enforcement when it comes to this investigation. They still got nothing. Even though they called them out and they're like, we understand, we're very sorry about what happened, so on and so forth. We will be more transparent. And they didn't even during that time, they didn't even turn to him and turn to the parents and go, here's what we know so far, and here's what these avenues that we're going down and investigating. They gave them nothing. All they said is, you're right, we're sorry, we'll be more transparent. Next question, what? Be transparent now, mother lover. Give us some information right now. We want to know what's going on. Still gave them nothing. If you go back to that press conference, you can hear it yourself. They didn't say anything. The reporters were asking Benjamin Crump, have they given you guys any new information? And he said, nope, not right now. They haven't given us anything yet, but they acknowledged that they screwed up. And now they have certain things in place so that they can be more in communication with the Wells family or with Nolan Wells's parents. But yet they didn't even give him anything at that time. That's weird. That's weird in my opinion. Now, real rebel, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Last name like McCormick equals jealous boyfriend. I don't know what that means, but thank you. I don't know what that means. Jealous boyfriend, McCormick. I don't know. I'm missing that. I'm missing that connection. But here's the thing. All right. There is some shady dealings with that. I mean, or, I feel like we should be side-eyeing some of this stuff. Just a little bit. A soft side eye, not a hard side eye. Because I'm waiting for them to actually step forward and give the family stuff. I'm waiting to hear from the family and hear what they say. Like, yeah, they haven't given us not a damn thing. And it's been 5 days. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for, oh no, they've been very, very much in communication with us. They're very transparent with us. They're telling us everything. They're showing us everything. We can't give you guys, the public, that information, but we can tell you that they are communicating with us. I hope we're going to hear that very, very soon, but they just had a meeting yesterday and they still didn't give them a damn thing, which is crazy. So.
And so I see today, not only that she had announced earlier this week that she was going to work with, or was working with the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, she met with the family and their counsel and gave them an update and told them that she will be presenting all of the evidence to a Jackson County grand jury. That is a step in the right direction. But is it a step in the right direction because we had to call her hand? Had she planned to do that all alone? I had the unfortunate experience of meeting the DA, McElrath, back in 2019 when I was a partner with the Cochran firm. And Toussaint Diamond Sims was killed by a Morris Point Police Department officer on August the 8th, 2019. It was caught on video. There were several witnesses that said that young man had nothing in his hands when he was shot 5 times in the back by that Morris Point cop. 5 times in the back, nothing in his hands. DA McElrath presented all that evidence, overwhelming evidence, and she still could not secure an indictment of that officer in Jackson County. So,
yikes. That's not good. That's not good.
Before everybody goes and starts singing her praises, let's make sure she's not going to do another sham presentation to the grand jury. And we know that you can present things to various grand juries until you get an indictment. It's mighty funny that the regular saying is you can indict a ham sandwich. With all that evidence, after someone was killed in 2019, and I happened to represent the family at that time as a partner in the Cochran firm, and I met with her as well as the family, similar to what happened today, so I've been through that process with her. She will offer you sweet tea. She's a nice, good Southern belle, but can she get you justice? We're not going to sleep on you, Angel, excuse me. We're not going to sleep on you. This time, we expect you to present the evidence in a manner like you present it in other situations that you can secure an indictment.
You know what I find crazy is, obviously there's a lot of things unearthing about specific people that are doing, that are spearheading the investigation with this Nolan Wells case. And this is specifically one of those people that, this McIlrath person, I can see why there would be concern if what we're hearing from this former judge is to be true. I could see how people could be very concerned about that. Like, person got shot 5 times in the back, and they turned a blind eye to that fact. Let's not forget. I mean, we just saw just recently. Remember, Asian man owned a convenience store. I forgot the young man's name, but the young kid, he ran off. He didn't have anything on him. He didn't steal anything. They just assumed that he did. They chased him down. The son said that he had a gun. He got shot in the back. He didn't pull a weapon out at all. There was a weapon on him, but he did not pull the weapon. He got shot in the back, and that man who shot him, who owned the convenience store, walked. I just, there's just moments where you're like, wow, that is just insane, especially when it's shot in the back type stuff. It'd be a different story if he was, standing square, had his weapon, thank you so much, had his weapon pointed straight at the son or at Chow. This would be a different story. That would be a different story, right? But apparently, kid did not. According to other people, they're saying that he did not pull that weapon. It was on his person, but he did not pull the weapon. And he still got shot in the back, taking his life. And he walked. That man who pulled the trigger. It's just weird stuff like that. That's just stuff where I'm like, what? What? In the back? That's crazy. This is crazy. So when you see something like this, when you hear a story like this, where it's like, hey, McIlrath was, overseeing another case. Person was shot 5 times in the back, and she just overlooked that. I can see people getting scared about her overlooking other things. You see what I'm saying? Overlooking other things in this particular case, if she has to not overlooking, but concerned about her turning a blind eye. That's what I mean. Averting her eyes and going, oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Delete it. I didn't see any of that. I don't know what you're talking about. I could see people very concerned about that. Because you got a situation here where there could be justice that needs to be sought after. So again, crazy. Yes, Chow was acquitted earlier this year. Shoot, just like 2 months ago? 2 months ago. So again, pretty crazy stuff, right? But let me see if there's... Is this all this him? Okay, we're going to go back down here. Let's take a look at this.
They will smile in your face and serve you 2 glasses of sweet tea and still stab you in the back. I can talk about them because that's where I'm from.
Now, the fact that this has even escalated to be presented to a grand jury would also hint to more that a simple drowning must not have taken place.
Now, I just want to make it abundantly clear, not a long time 8. Thank you so much for the comment. Yes, he is no longer a judge. He actually got fired, out of his position because he called out the racism in the system in Mississippi, just so you know. So this particular former judge, no longer a judge because he called out. He called out the corruption and the racism and the bias within the system. He called it out and he lost his job. So, just so you know. Crazy.
Let's talk about them more in the comments below. Now that we're identifying that the call to get towed matches the same location where Nolan's body was found 2 days later, is this a major break in the case?
I mean, is it a major break in the case? I feel like it's very shocking. Okay, I think it's very shocking, but I don't know if it's really. I don't think it's really. His body is found in the same area. All right. His body was found in the same area as the party. The phone call was made in the same area as this party. So, again, I am kind of curious about that. Hold on. What the F is this guy's name? Carlos Moore. Hold on. Some of you guys are saying I'm lying. Hold on. Let's find out. So Carlos Moore is his name. Let's find out. Former municipal judge in Mississippi has been removed from the bench permanently. Okay. So Mississippi Supreme Court barred attorney Carlos Moore from serving as a judge and then fined him $3,000 for what it called willful misconduct that was prejudicial to the administration of justice. The decision comes nearly a year after a petition was filed to remove Moore as municipal court judge for the cities of Clarksdale and Grenada. At the time the petition was submitted, he had already resigned from the position in Clarksdale, with a newspaper reporting he was getting married and joining a law firm in Atlanta. The High Court's ruling also comes just weeks after the Mississippi Bar Complaints Tribunal suspended the civil rights attorney from practicing for 1 whole year. He, quote unquote, he has failed to act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. The court's majority opinion states. Judge Moore has admitted his actions, but continues to argue that he has done no wrong. A great likelihood exists that Judge Moore would continue to repeat his actions. Accordingly, a harsh sanction is warranted. So, the Commission on Judicial Performance had requested Moore be removed from the bench and suspended for 6 years, in addition to a $5,000 fine. The commission also recommended that the attorney receive a public reprimand. The High Court's decision, however, removes Moore from the bench permanently, with the majority writing, we hold that the phrase "removed from office" found in Section 177A of the Mississippi Constitution necessarily means a permanent separation from office, such that an individual judge removed remains ineligible to return. Therefore, a suspension is unnecessary. So, according to court records, Moore wrote on social media following the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse. Whoa, here we go. Let's see what he said. This is what apparently sparked off this whole situation. Hold on. Run into the court, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make sure. At the heart of the matter were previous comments that he made on social media and the Kelly Clarkson show. So he was on Kelly Clarkson saying some stuff. Oh boy. So Annie a judge. Okay. If anyone still believes justice is blind in America after the Kyle Rittenhouse acquittals yesterday, you must refuse to accept an ugly truth. I can almost guarantee you that if Kyle had been black and took the life of two white men in the same manner Kyle did, he most certainly would be convicted. There has never been a greater need for black lawyers and judges in America to keep decrying the blatant inequities that exist in our criminal system and to keep pushing for a colorblind and more equitable justice system. So we already know about Kyle Rittenhouse. We've been known that. We've already traveled down that bumpy road a million times before. So court records indicate Moore stood by that post, saying it was protected speech and that he was simply calling out inequities in the nation's justice system. However, the Supreme Court ruled the Rittenhouse comments violated a previous memorandum of understanding with the Commission on Judicial Justice, which limited the types of posts Moore could make on social media, in particular, his official judicial social media pages. So he's not allowed to put in his 2 cents about a verdict that he was not okay with. So for those of y'all who are just like, oh, he lying, blah, blah, blah. Apparently he was saying he had an opinion. And now he's not a judge anymore because he had an opinion. Interesting, right? Another comment the high court referenced came during an interview with Kelly Clarkson. No, Kelly Clarkson! So, according to court records, in 2022, he was promoting an alternative sentencing program where he told the host that judges could not be empathetic to people who don't look like them. For his part, King. Who the F is King? I don't see King in here. Okay. I don't know what that's interesting. But anyway, where's the Kelly Clarkson? Okay. For his part, King said judges don't give up their First Amendment rights once they take office, and that the United States Supreme Court has held and frequently reaffirmed that speech on political views and public issues occupies the highest rung of the hierarchy of First Amendment values. He pointed that to the state's high court record on judicial speech, saying the court backed Connie Glenn Wilkerson, who wrote a letter to his local newspaper declaring his religious views on homosexuality. So the judge made no official reference to his position as judge in the letter. Interesting. King also took issue with the court's decision regarding the commission's MOU. By allowing it, he said, the court is allowing the group to overstep its authority and circumvent the court's power. Based on the court's prior action, I would find that Judge Moore did not commit misconduct by failing to comply with the MOU. This is what King wrote, because Judge Moore's comments are protected by the First Amendment and because they do not violate the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct. I would dismiss the commission's complaint. So, very interesting. So he had an opinion, and he got in trouble for having an opinion and exercising his First Amendment right. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you agree with him or not, but he also does have rights as a citizen beyond the cloak, right? Beyond the gown, right? So again, that's very interesting that he was removed from the bench, and yeah, he feels some type of way. And of course he's going to start talking. If he knows things that are going on inside of Mississippi, he going to start squawking. So I'm not surprised. that he's out here squawking. But nonetheless, he's saying his piece. We heard that, right? That's his piece. He said his piece. But now I'm wondering, outside of that, he's saying, hey, there are some people you should side-eye, especially the DA, especially there's, certain individuals, you should be side-eyeing them. We just have to take that with a grain of salt. Just because he says that does not mean it's scripture. It's good to have it in the back of your mind, but it doesn't automatically mean that it is absolutely 110% foolproof. So we'll see. Okay? We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, we have a few things. Okay? Oh, shoot. Not that. So, pals of the tragic teen, Nolan Wells, called for help when the boat suddenly malfunctioned and started taking on water. See, these pop-ups drive me freaking crazy. Taking on water, according to newly released audio from the day of his disappearance, okay? So, of course, we already know that he traveled with his friends. The boat, which had like 7 people on board, experienced difficulty at around 4 p.m. before making the journey back, according to audio heard on by the outlet. So, hey, we're at west tip of Horn. The bilge pump isn't working. We're sinking. Can you all come, please? Can you all please come? So, I want to get this boat unsank and towed back. Apparently, this is what the caller also said. The boat was then towed for about 3 miles, around 3 miles before picking up normal speed less than an hour later, according to the GPS data obtained by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and shared with NBC News. It reportedly returned to the location, like we already talked about, from where it originally departed from at 5:44 p.m. Circumstances leading up to his disappearance, Wells' disappearance. I hate when it does that. Wells' disappearance and death remain unclear. All right. So again, it's wild that they say they left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. This is what the Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, one of the moms of Nolan Wells's friends, said. All right. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland with another group of friends. Okay. Like I've said ad nauseum, who is the other group of friends? That's it. Who is the other group of friends? Then he was identified through his dental records. How does that make sense? Like I said, how does that even make sense? In fact, hold on. This reminds me of something that I saw, and I need to send it to myself so we can see this. Because again, this is something that's really bothering me too. Very much so. So give me 2 seconds. Who was on the boat that was supposed to be taking him home? Like I said, I repeat, who was on the boat that was supposed to take him back home? Who? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Because this is going to drive me nuts. I don't know about you, but this is definitely going to drive me nuts. Hold on. And there's a clip that we need to share. Because, again, it doesn't make any sense that they had to identify his body through dental records. Why would they even have to remotely do that? Make it make sense. Okay? 1 second. I'm trying to find it here. Is it here?
This does not smell.
This does not smell right. Hold on. Is it in here? Nope. This is going to drive me crazy. Hold on, guys. I am so sorry. It just popped in my head. I was like, oh, yeah, we should talk about this. We should look at this with our own two eyes. Because this kind of explains, like, it's information. I find it to be very interesting. Where the heck is it? One second, y'all. I'm sorry. I swear. Give me a freaking second. It's in here somewhere. Yeah. Where the heck is it? There it is. Hi, that's your girl. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hold on. Where the heck is it? Let's try that crap again. Because it's weird because I'm trying to find the clip from an actual... God. There it is. Come on. Okay. Finally found it.
Condition of the body, the status of the body, because when we hear that they any idea this body that was found, do you have any idea the condition of the body, the status of the body? Because when we hear that they need to do some more forensic testing, DNA testing to confirm the identity, is that standard operating procedure, or was the body in such a condition, from what you know, that you couldn't make a readily identifiable, whether it was Nolan or not, you can't make a clear identification just by looking at the remains?
Yeah, I saw the body from about 300 feet in the air, but so I wouldn't be able to tell you like exact condition. I can tell you that it did not appear to be waterlogged. It was only in the water for a couple days, but nevertheless, the sheriff's office put out a statement saying that they had no reason to believe it was not Nolan. So I think they were pretty confident it was. I think the reason for the delay in the official announcement is that I don't think the coroner can sign the death certificate until he gets DNA evidence proving it is who they're, the person they're saying is deceased, is actually them. So I think it's just a formality, to be honest with you. But I believe that the family or somebody in the family did identify Nolan, because they put out their own statement acknowledging that it was his remains that were found and that he had in fact died.
Just to clarify something, why wasn't the body spotted earlier?
I think that I can tell you that I've started flying over the island, that part of the island where the body washed up, approximately 6:30 a.m. And I believe he was spotted by a park ranger at 8:45. My belief is that he just washed up within that time period because we were flying kind of a long grid north and south. And I think he just washed up, and a park ranger just doing his normal runs in the morning. But also, too, given the situation, I'm sure they were a little more hyper aware and probably a little more head on a swivel on the island, knowing what happened and what was going on. But yeah, I was told that it was about 8:45 when a ranger spotted, called it in, because I did see a long line of emergency boats coming heading southwest toward the northwest tip of the island. And I thought it was just originally, I thought it was just another search party going out, but I think they were actually responding to that call.
Yeah. So again, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense that they had to use dental records to actually identify his body. If his body wasn't touched, because remember, the parents kind of stepped out and were like, hey, it's not like it's not like there was some, like, half his face was missing or anything like that. People were saying crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean? That kind of rumor. They were saying that his face is totally fine. His face is intact, all that stuff. But it just doesn't make any sense that they had to use dental records to actually identify Nolan Wells's remains. I find that strange. I do find that strange. But maybe that's just standard procedure. I don't know. Because it's not like they're looking for another missing black 18-year-old kid. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like they were looking for another 18-year-old kid and they're like, oh, we found him while we're looking for the other kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was obvious that it was his body. But they still used dental records to identify his remains. I don't know. Maybe there was something that happened, but they said his body wasn't waterlogged. There was no waterlog. He wasn't waterlogged or anything. So it's not like there was bloating or anything of that sort. So, to prove whether or not that was him or not. You see what I'm saying? And using dental records would be, using the dental records to just confirm that it is him because of his, how waterlogged he is, but he wasn't waterlogged. So again, that's another reason why a lot of people are like, hey, that's weird. Because he is in ocean water, he would bloat up. He would definitely bloat. So, and he didn't. So, interesting. But what say you guys? What are your thoughts on this? Are you catching something? Are you seeing something? I mean, is it just... It could very well be, dental records and all that could very well just be, using dental records could just be standard procedure. That could be it. That could very well be it. But, I mean, we'll see. I mean, clothing. I mean, he was wearing blue swim trunks and he had, shades on. I'm sure the shades fell off. Okay. But, interesting. Just very, very interesting, But what say you guys? What say you guys on this? I mean, do you still think that there's foul play? I mean, I feel like this timeline does tell us something, but I think there's still some gaps in the timeline. I definitely still have some questions on why they would bounce. Why would they leave Horn Island? There's issues with the boat, but then suddenly the issues with the boat, I guess, seem to be fixed while they're en route going back to the mainland. They end up going back to the mainland. Then they go out to Fort Bayou. Then they go back to the original port again, the original dock again. Then go out to Fort Bayou, the boat launch area, and that's when they pack up their stuff and they go home. It just doesn't make sense. Unless something broke and was fixed en route back to Horn Island, everything was fine, everything was Gucci, and they decided to go to Fort Bayou for a second. Maybe there was like a spot out there to go kick it or something like that. Maybe they're like, yo, there's another little bar that overlooks the ocean right over here. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, maybe this is the, maybe they went down there to go check it out and then maybe it was dead. Maybe it wasn't as busy, or maybe they were going to get carded. They realized that they're about to get carded. So then they said, you know what? Let's go back. And then they went back. Maybe that's what it was. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I said, I'm just asking questions, right? We don't know everything yet. I'm sure we're going to have some more answers here in the very near future, but a lot of this is very strange if you ask me. All right. But I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. You know, I may be back on a little bit later on. Oh, actually, I will be back on because President Trump is supposed to be addressing the nation tonight. Yes. What the hell is going on with that? Okay. So we will be talking and checking that out tonight because he said something big is happening. And the way he said it, he didn't do it like he usually does. So I feel like it is something big. I feel like it's something really big that's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to make a lot of people happy. And I'm talking about politically. I'm not saying the American people, but I think that there's a lot of things that he's going to drop tonight. Or it just may be him going, we're doing great. The economy is doing great. I mean, and he might do that too. You know, gas prices lower than they've ever been before. He might do that. You never know. You never know. But we're going to be on tonight to watch that BS and see what kind of things what kind of crap he's going to try to pour into our ears. So let's see what happens. But, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Please do me a favor. What time? Actually, that's a good question. I think it's supposed to be around 8 Central Standard Time, so 9 Eastern, if I'm correct. I'll let you guys will know when I put it up and have I'll have a whole show set up before we go, okay? Or before we start. So you'll get a full-on heads up hours ahead of time, all right? But apparently it's around 8. You know what? I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Trump address time. Let's see. They're just saying it happening tonight. Like, I just want to know what time, though. What time? Yep, I was right. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Okay? So 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. All right? So we'll be back to watch that and see what he's talking about. All right? So just be aware of that. I'll be back on probably about 5-10 minutes beforehand to get us nice and warmed up for that. All right? We'll see what happens. So please do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them, guys. So make sure you do that for me, please, and thank you. Follow. Hit that subscribe button right here on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel. The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Please and thank you. Make sure you're subscribed to both channels. Hit that notification bell on both channels. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your afternoon. We'll be back on tonight to watch this address from President Donald J. Trump. What kind of BS is going to be coming out of his mouth? We'll find out. We will find out. Anyway, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show.